Welcome in, everyone. MJ38 Show, episode number 69. Billy Madison, cue the Billy Madison GIFs. Keep on pushing. We love everybody. Thank you for joining us. Hopefully your day is going fantastic. Let's make it a little bit better. As always, myself, Justin, co-host Matthew, MJ38 in the flesh. And today we have another very special guest, Mr. Sean Crawford, the South Texas area manager for Still Austin, one of the most popular, up-and-coming, largest expanding, quickest expanding bourbon and gin distributors in the nation. Located in our backyard, Austin, Texas, partially my hometown, high school hometown. Love that place. My mom still lives out there. Love Austin to death. Mr. Sean Crawford, welcome in, man. Thank you for coming and joining us today.
Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate y'all having me in.
Of course, absolutely, man. It's awesome. How'd you come into the Still Austin, or how'd you and Still Austin cross paths as far as your career journey?
I was actually working at Southern Glazers, and
that's like they do wine or like all kinds of liquors?
Yeah, it's a spirit and wine distributor, and I was there for 14 years.
Okay.
From a consultant up to a regional sales director, and was just kind of like done with that whole side of the business, and didn't really want to move to Dallas. Was next steps, and just wasn't really what I wanted to do. And
you were working for them in San Antonio? Mm-hmm. And then so you were saying Dallas was the next potential move for you?
As my regional, I was covering all of Central Texas, so Austin, San Antonio, and everything that encompasses. Mm-hmm. And I did that for a little over 4 years. Nice. And I was managing two supplier sides within there, the Diageo portfolio and the Moet Hennessy portfolio. And there's a lot of drive-ins, a lot of things, managing a total of 17 people, and just got old after 4 years. And then all the stuff with COVID obviously going on is like a whole
That's a big shakeup for everyone, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's just a lot going on. And then changes my life, plus I had the kids and stuff. And I don't know, I wanted to always work for a supplier, but I always wanted to work for a really good supplier. Somebody that did things the right way, somewhere that I could also build a brand at the same time, is not just be a part of a large supplier, but be a part of, what is the full entailment of what they are and what they're about. And yes, have some say-so in regards to what you're doing, and the autonomy to manage a territory and have a two-way street on feedback going back and forth. So when Still came, I was familiar with them, knew what they were about, and then going through that interview process was a lot of back and forth questions, things that I just mentioned right now.
Yeah.
Just seemed to fit, and
nice.
The rest is
how long have you been there? Then how long have they been open?
So the distillery actually opened in 2015, but the bourbon that you see out today, which is our straight bourbon, the Musician, didn't launch until the summer of 2020. So before that, we were doing like some 1 year bourbons. We had some flavored whiskeys, kind of White Dog. We launched the Gin 18. So there was like a lot of different kind of hodgepodge of things that they were doing while, the bourbon was sitting there and resting and doing its thing. So I'd say, we had that, and it was like kind of a slow growth. But when we launched that Musician, summer 2020, it really started to take off and kind of really
gain some momentum.
Gain momentum, move things to the next level. Yeah, absolutely.
That's tight. So you said 2015 is when they started the distillery?
That's when they actually opened officially. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. And then when did you hop on?
February 22.
Okay, nice.
February 22.
So I guess, you kind of came when it was like the ramp up was ramping up.
It was right before things really took off. We just had the bourbon and we had the gin, and we hadn't released the cask strength bourbon. We did they did, I should say, a limited release right at the end of 21. And it was just kind of a limited release of this bottle that's sitting right here.
Nice.
And then right as I came on, a few weeks later, they did a full release on this. And so I got to be a part of that full release, that rollout. And then been a part of everything that's rolled out since, as we've continued to grow and expand.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you have, how many different types do they have now? Because they have the cask strength, the regular bourbon.
So we have our straight bourbon, which we launched in 2020. We have our cask strength. Then in 22 of October, November, we released our straight rye. And then we released our cask strength rye in September of 23. And four of those whiskeys are double gold winners at the World San Francisco Spirit Competition. So that's pretty nice accolade to obtain. So
dude, that's awesome. Have you ever been to one of those competitions?
I have not. I did have the luxury to meet an individual that sat in one of my dinners out at Cordillera Ranch, and he not only teaches whiskey at universities and he rates whiskeys, though. He's been one of those judges before. He does a lot of that, and he's been doing it for a very long time. It's kind of started adding a little insight to me, I guess you could say, a little mentorship.
Yeah.
Like him and I talk pretty regularly and stuff. And when he's in town, he'll invite me to some things that he's putting on to kind of immerse myself a little bit more into that world.
Dude, that's nice. It's like a blind tasting as far as like how they grade the things.
It is. So San Francisco Spirit Comp is probably one of the most prestigious when it comes to rating spirits.
Yeah.
And it's blind taste tested in specific categories. And there's a double gold, a gold, a silver, and a bronze medal that are issued for, those categories that are fitting in there. So to get a double gold, it's a unanimous decision by 13 judges.
Wow.
This is
all 13 on the same page. That's crazy.
Absolutely.
Even blind.
Yeah. So it's all blind. No one knows, brands or anything like that. It's just done like, A, B, C, D.
That's the way to do it, right?
Absolutely.
Come on now.
That's insane. To get 13 people to agree, it must be better, right?
Yeah, so even with that being said, though, is there any level? There are 13 humans out there.
Absolutely.
It's like, hey, man, G's looking pretty nice, right?
That's what I'm thinking. Just
G's looking pretty nice.
because people's palates are different, right? So it'd be
Absolutely.
hard. Are there multiple? I guess that means there's only one liquor winning a double gold per year.
No, it's just variations depending on what those classifications are.
Or
What
if
those
they-
specific class are. I'm not exactly sure what they and how they classify.
That's cool. though.
But they could have a class that's within a range of the proof level, full proof cask, ones that are brought down to proof with water, regions, territories, things of that nature. So all that kind of plays into it.
Mm-hmm. I don't think there's, or I guess from my understanding, it doesn't sound like there's a guaranteed double gold. It's just,
No.
If it
yeah,
happens,
if it happens, it happens.
No.
that's awesome.
Our whiskeys have our gins. The best ever guys is silver, but people seem to really love our gin. Even people that don't really like gin gravitate to our gin. So
I definitely thought of Still Austin as the gin that I would drink if I were drinking gin, and I don't like gin.
Yeah.
But like if I were gonna drink it, I definitely would order you guys at the bar every time. And then I was less familiar with the whiskey until we got to tour the barrel houses and stuff, and I was like kind of got to learn about it and stuff. It's awesome. This is delicious, dude.
thanks. This is our cast strength bourbon. This is the 118 on the proof. It's a blend of about 35, 40 barrels, minimum 3-year-old juice. And yeah, it's all done right here in Texas, man.
It was perfect. It took me right to the edge where I almost wanted to say it was like too strong for my palate, but then it just like kind of stopped and kept me right there and turned a little bit sweet on the backside too while it stayed there.
Yep.
It's really nice. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, it's got some kind of like cacao, brown sugar, mocha type notes.
Yeah.
More on the sweet kind of flavor profile. Nothing's added to it. It's just like, when we're tasting barrels in the rack house, you're looking for specific barrel and flavor profiles. And as our guys in our rack houses are doing that, if they're meeting that certain flavor profile, then they get set aside and they'll be set longer and get prepared to, go to the blending for the cast strength.
Wow.
Dude, those are just 3 hard. I want to just give you some juice for those descriptive words: the brown sugar, mocha,
Cacao.
and cacao. That's hard because I know that game of like describing wines to people or just, like liquors to guests, and
Yeah,
you have to have different descriptors. You can't just be using the same words every time to describe things.
Absolutely.
That was a hit.
Thanks. It makes great cocktails. I prefer rye in my old fashions. Things that maybe sour is kind of something that a bourbon would go in. I prefer it more on the neat side, but something that's super popular that this goes really well in is espresso martini.
Wow. I've had whiskey and espresso martini before, and I didn't think I was going to like it, but it's good.
Yeah, it's a pretty big hit with this one on there. So,
Really?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, yeah. So working for Still Austin's been great, though. Getting when they started like ramping things up in 2020, it was really kind of like a rocket ship taking off. So
Yeah, and I
it's
guess
been
I think
pretty
you had probably touched on it because we recently went on a tour. I guess our quick little backstory: our paths had crossed before.
Absolutely.
We were crossing at Blue. You're just a partially supplier for Blue Prime, 'cause a lot of steakhouses in the city, and that's how our paths initially crossed. And then we went on a second tour relatively recently. through another restaurant venture. But I think you had touched on it back then. But I'd also gotten information about y'all doing like an expansion currently that's like crazy large as far as your expansion.
We are. So currently where our facility is, which is on St. Elmo Street, and for people that don't know exactly, we're directly like 5 miles south of downtown Austin. So just south of 290 between 35 and Congress. There's a place called The Yard. And within there's like a Tesla dealership. There's a sake maker. There's a wine maker on one end. We're right next door to St. Elmo Brewery. There's some other brewers that are in there.
And that big pickleball court over there?
Large pickleball court that's now in play. They got a coffee shop. So it's a whole area.
Oh, tight.
So we have 2 buildings currently. One houses kind of our admin offices and things like that. We have this like nice little patio. I don't know. I think it's quite large with a food truck that's right there and a stage for band and things and people to hang out. And then we have our distillery and tasting room. But everything kind of directly behind that, if you're looking at it, all the way over to the high rise of apartments or condos that are right over there. We're taking over those 9 buildings, and that's going to be our Still Austin district. So back in April, we signed a 100-year lease there. And we're going to be taking that whole area over.
100-year lease.
Yeah, 100-year lease, man.
Jesus Christ.
It's a commitment, man.
I don't think I've heard of that before.
That's more than marriage.
Yeah.
That's more than married.
Yeah, you're all in.
That's
I won't
crazy.
be here, but
nah, bro.
none of us will be. But it's about passing down legacy and really.
Yeah, our kids' kids are gonna have to take care of that one.
Absolutely. I don't know if my kids will want to get in the industry one day or not, but at least I know there will be an option.
Yeah,
for them to get into
seriously.
it. Absolutely. So,
what's the benefit of a 100-year lease compared to a 25-year
or
lease?
a 50.
Yeah.
50 enough.
well, yeah,
There's potential for a lot of benefit if years 50 to 100, the economy and the real estate prices skyrocket, right? If all the property value goes up $1 million,
and you're locked in,
right? When that would allegedly be one of the benefits.
2 things: we're locked in, and also, we the still that we're currently using was custom built by a company called Forsyth in Scotland, and it was one of a kind, unique still at the time. And no one had a still like this in the world. So I believe there's a second one out that's been built since then. But we've worked with Forsyth, and just about a month and a half, maybe 2 months ago, our head distiller and our CEO and them got together and met. And so they're already in the works in the development of our second still that will be housed over in this expansion piece. There will be a whole new area. So that's the thing part of it, the 100-year lease. We're putting in this massively large new still. Our current still is 14 inches in diameter by 42 foot tall. This one will be 36 inches in diameter by 42 foot tall. So a massive increase in production. So getting that brought in, all the equipment, because we're going to have a lot of additional fermentation tanks added into this building, plus an additional multiple cookers that goes through the process. We're getting new silos. Right now we have 3 25-ton silos. We'll be putting in 5 100-ton silos with a 25-ton silo.
Wow.
That's going to be added. So just a massive expansion. And when you have
500% increase.
Yeah, when you have all this stuff coming in, putting a large lease together of that nature ensures, your equipment's going to be staying there for a while. We're not going to have to pay to move it. Exactly, because that stuff ain't cheap to move, especially stills. I mean, those things are once you get them in place, you want to have that in place. There's a lot of piping and components that go along with all of that stuff, as you guys saw when you were there, and seeing what you saw, and then what we're going to move into is going to be, a massively significant increase. So yeah,
that's crazy.
Nice, dude.
Yep. That's super crazy. Yeah, that's a long time.
It's got to be cool to be operating a business that's booming.
Absolutely. I think there's a lot of certainty right now with the economy because of the election that's coming up, and you can see this in bars, restaurants. Hotels to some degree, but bars and restaurants just haven't been as busy. A lot of spirits are kind of, either flat or down, and we have the luxury to be up right now and doing very well. I think that speaks to the people that are here in Texas really supporting us. I know we're outside of Texas, but I'm just, more speaking here like locally and everything of that nature. I think a big piece to that also is being a little educated about who we are. And I'm saying that in a broad sense. You don't need to have a 30-minute digest on us, but, like a small elevator pitch and kind of wrap it into that 100-year lease we're talking about. All of our grains are sourced from Texas farms in the Panhandle, Texas. So a lot of people are starting to learn that and know that. And so knowing when you're buying Still Austin, whether it's the bourbon, the rye whiskey, or the gin, you're supporting Texas farmers.
Yeah.
And signing a 100-year lease is also good for them because they know and feel like their families.
They got supply or demand for the supply.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of these farmers, their families have been doing this for over 135 years. And now they're able to pass it down to their kids and being able to keep that regimen going, which is really good. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
Absolutely.
They don't take care of farmers enough right now. It's crazy.
No, and to that point, all of our leftover spent grains that we go through 2 to 3 times a day when we're doing our cooks, we give back to local farmers for free. So
Nice.
we have people driving in from like Cuero, Gonzales, Blanco, Bastrop, and they'll just come pick up our grains, and we just give it to them. Spent grains, we're done with it.
How do they use it, or how do they benefit from that?
They just give it to their livestock.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's livestock. So there's a guy in Blanco. His name's Ryan. His livestock feed on specifically like what's on the land, and he picks up grains from us twice a week and has certain ones that are only like fed from our grains because all of our grains that we're sourcing are food grade level quality grains, non-GMO white corn from our farms. So they're quality grains, and it's good going to the animals.
Yeah.
Instead of just us dumping them somewhere.
Yeah.
Right.
So
That's
it keeps a full circle in Texas, and I think a lot of people that are familiar with Still Austin are also kind of familiar with that piece. You know, maybe not so much the in-depth of our, grain to glass, like everything through the distillation process and all that. But they know that, hey, they're sourcing their grains in Texas, they're giving them back. So yeah,
at least in the broad sense that they don't even have to know like the specific steps, even like the give back of the grains. At least they're in their mind, they're at least able to easily associate. And I have, at least just based on the tours and stuff, just like at least like, oh, that's local. Like the idea of local.
Absolutely.
It's like truly local.
Truly local.
That's hometown. That's awesome.
Yeah, we're not outsourcing, MGP grains or grains from other places that you may or may not be controlling, as in a sense of, we're buying some grains from Indiana, or maybe we're buying some grains from Ohio. We work with the farmers. We know what we're getting. It's always there. There's tequila makers that are like that. They work really close with their farmers on their agave plants, and they know what they're getting when they're getting their agave plants, and not just like, hey, we're going to take these acres over here and we're going to take this and have some uncertainty when it comes to,
That makes
the
a lot of
grains.
sense.
So yeah, it does. It plays a role into the juice, plays a role into what we're trying to do here locally. And even though we're expanding and we're in multiple states, we're still trying to stay true and authentic, and we always will to what we're doing. So all that comes into play.
Yeah, I guess that was another question I had. Was I guess you are international sales or global sales?
No, currently right now we are fully distributed in Texas, Louisiana, Illinois, Colorado. We just expanded into Oregon, and every Total Wine across the United States.
Nice.
So there is more states that are coming before the end of this year.
That's
and
badass.
at the beginning of next year, and there'll probably be about like
Every
5 to
Total
7
Wine is
states.
awesome.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yeah, how many did you have when you started versus now?
When I started, we were just in Texas, and we had a footprint in Louisiana. We had not done Illinois. We had not expanded to Colorado. We didn't have specs on board as the way we do right now. We had local supporters, like for me, like locally, like Alamo City Liquor, and got Liquid Town down in Corpus involved, and there's Spangies that are down there that are supporting. Total Wine, when I came on, had just kind of like taken us in, but it was only in the Texas, Louisiana market. And then as I've been there, we've been able to
Perform well.
expand into all their totals across the U.S., which is great. Because some people will come to Texas, or they'll visit our distillery, or they'll be here and they're like, oh, this stuff is really good. Where can I get it? And I see posts about people posting online. It's like, just look for your local Total Wine if you have one in your state, if we're not there yet. So it's not like vodka. We just can't make it and then ship it out. We got to wait on Mother Nature to do her thing and let that aging take time. So it's got to sit for at least 2 years. Oh, yeah. It's got to sit for at least 2 years. And then if you're looking Castro, then 3. Most of our stuff is close to 3 or over.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Like, I guess that's so crazy. Just thinking about, I guess you touching on that, like the different spirits or the different things you can make, like a winemaker. Like, there's so many different varietals and liquor. There's so many different types. I guess do you know, like the creators or the founders, or who had the idea to like start making this, or the passion to start pursuing this bourbon creation? For
Still Austin or for Bourbon Result? For Still Austin, it was
both.
for Still Austin. It was done with Chris Seals and his father, Cleveland Seals.
Seals.
Seals. S-E-A-L-S. Yeah, Seals. So
Seals.
Chris was in like risk management, market analysis kind of thing. And his father was part of help to build like Sunkist Soda. And his father retired.
Huh.
And then decided during retirement that he wanted to start up a whiskey company. So he started asking his kids, and none of them were like, yeah, no, it's not a good idea.
What are you talking about, Dad?
You're smoking too much.
You're making sodas.
Yeah. And so Chris thought at the time they didn't have the best relationship. It was a rocky relationship. And so he sat down and crunched numbers doing the analysis that he does and did. He decided to like have a discussion with his dad and was like, hey, if this is something we're serious about it, you know, I'm going to take a look at it. I think the best thing for us to do is go visit some distilleries.
Yeah.
Go visit. Like
See how this is done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like learn, like immerse yourself in it. Right. And so that's what they did. And that's also how they found our master blender, Nancy Fraley, who's absolutely amazing. She's a wonderful individual. And they sat in a lot of her classes, went to different distilleries and learned a lot. And decided that they were going to like, you know, take shape with all this. All this kind of started, I believe, around 2009. So,
Okay.
Dude, that's crazy.
yeah, because when they wanted Nancy to come on board, she originally told us no. She's like, no, not happening.
Yeah, you're a new business. She's an expert in the field. You guys didn't have sales yet, right?
Yeah. Nancy used to be a master blender for big houses in the 90s, ones that are very well known. And she just won a lot of awards, but it was always kept like kind of behind the scenes.
Huh.
And so she stopped blending for all of them and went into consulting in the early 2000s.
Smart.
And just did that. And she wasn't really had interest in also getting back in. So Chris and them were like, really wanted him on board. She's obviously said no. And the thought process was, well, consult for us. Can you give us a list? And she gave them this checklist. It was quite long, quite long. And during that, it was when Chris realized it took him, I think it was 39 months, could be 37. I think it was 39 months where they had to go through this before they got the checklist complete. He goes, knowing now that, he's like, I don't know if I'd have done it, but
yeah, 3 years.
over there's, yeah, exactly. And then they had a sit down meeting with Nancy and was like, hey, we got all this accomplished.
3 years later, still in contact.
We got because they were in contact through the process. Say we got all this accomplished. She looked it over. As Chris said, they wanted her to come on board. She kind of was still like, kind of talked herself into it, and then they were able to go through the process of like getting her on kind of like part time and to start with, and then getting her on obviously full time as that progressed. But some of the big things were us using Texas grains. She was very adamant about like not outsourcing a bunch of stuff or anything like that. If it was going to be done, she wanted it done the right way. The still that we were able to get, all stainless, high quality. Forsyth builds some of the best stills in the world. There's a guy named Mike Delavante who had a hand in developing and building Appleton rum, if you've ever heard of Appleton and J. Ray. And that's actually why the still was originally built, and it didn't pan out. And through the connections, Mike was able to speak with Seals and Nancy and said they had the still on, and then we were able to acquire that still.
Wow.
Part of that being they weren't going to let that still go either unless we were using high quality grains as well. So that came into play.
Nice.
Kind of shaped sometimes constraint shapes the art, right?
Absolutely.
Kind of
absolutely
needed it to be that way. But it sounds perfect too at the same time.
Yep.
It's awesome.
So once all that kind of got done, then came the building out of that. And I think that whole building process started out in 2012 is when they actually started like, okay, we got to start putting all these pieces down and building out. Because where we're currently at, I heard used to be like a pit. There was nothing there. It was like meth heads and drug addicts and like
stuff for Potter Austin.
Yeah, certain parts
South
of
Austin. Yeah, be careful.
Yeah, it was kind of run down. And then they bought it and wanted to do it, and they saw this vision, and as well as I believe the landlord guy that owns the land also they had a vision of making it what it was today.
Dude, that's cool.
So I know St. Elmo was was a part of that. St. Elmo Root Beer, because they're next door, and they were part of that and helping build that up. And yeah, and then also we're the first distillery to open in the city limits of Austin since before Prohibition. So
that's cool.
Still Austin.
There's a lot of like I found out a lot of things you have to go through to open up a distillery in city limits. Fire code being one of them. It's a big thing. Yeah, red tape, city stuff, permits. There's a whole bunch. Lots.
What was hard with the fire code?
Fire code because of distilling alcohol and stuff at the level. There's a lot of concerns.
You got tons of like flammable stuff in
vapors.
Absolutely.
Dude, holy shit.
Where we mill our grains at the miller is literally you can't smoke within, I believe, like 30 feet of that thing. It's just because you're milling dry grains. It's just can go up like super quick. So there's a lot of things,
That makes sense.
Same thing when you're opening a business, occupancy people, but more on the sides of like flammable things and also water, how much water is being pulled and utilized. It's just, it's in a city, so all that has to be.
We're really interested in entrepreneurship just because we started our own business, but we've wanted to start a business for a while. So it's really cool to hear the ins and outs of how you guys came to be, and you're so successful right now. Seems like you're on the cutting edge of like the newer liquors that are becoming very popular. I don't know. Do you see liquors like phase out? Like, I don't know. When I'm trying to think, what's like a popular household bourbon that you think is on this price point and tier, like level taste?
For me, I think on our level,
I didn't want to make you say because I feel like I don't want you to have to brand yourself with anybody if you don't want to. But
oh no, I'm pretty open about
what you think.
Other bourbons that are great. I mean, I think Four Roses is a great bourbon.
I've had Four Roses. Have we had
I've never had it, but I know I've heard the name many times. Right. People like that one a lot.
Mm-hmm. Four Roses, I think, is a great quality bourbon.
Okay,
nice bang for your buck. I think it adds a variety of ranges to it. You can get just their base blend, which is it's a blend of 10 different mash bills. And then they have their small batch, which is a blend of 5, and then their single barrel, which is a blend of 1. They're obviously increasing with price, but they also increase with proof from 80, 90 to 100. But it also offers a great quality. I believe the small batch is running kind of close to what our bourbon runs. And then so does and then the single barrels a little bit more, not much, but it's quality.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
I have to give it a taste.
Yeah, but you're saying that.
Here's my legit question. I wanted to phrase it like in a way that sounded better, but like I'm thinking about like Patron tequila, right?
Absolutely.
Just household name. Like everybody knows what Patron is, and a lot of people drink it just because they think it's good tequila, right? And sometimes it is. Some people argue it's not. I think that you guys have like a more niche taste that you guys are doing. There's more flavor. There's more specificity. Like I don't think you guys are one of those generic kind of whiskeys in that sense. But how? Well, my one question is, do you think Patron is ever going to leave that status where they're going to kind of fall out of what is household popularity and other things will take over? Or like Don Julio, for instance, is another one I think of.
I think I used to sell Don Julio for a long time. And when we started, Patron was like massive and Don Julio was very unknown at the time. Not completely, but the gap was significantly different than what it is today. And I feel like, to your point, that household name of Patron kind of has dropped where Don Julio has kind of overtaken that.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
What do you think that is?
Don Julio is better, I think, personally.
Is it just better? Or like, did they win more awards? Or did more?
So some of it is marketing. Right. Some of it, though, kind of, I'll make a full circle back to kind of what we were just talking about. And I know this because I actually sold the brand and worked with it for so long. At the time when I was there, unless this has changed, so I don't want to speak like misinformation, but they own their own land and they control their agaves, and they're able to know and harvest them when the agave plant is ready.
This is Don Julio?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Versus Patron, where they were just purchasing acres of agaves and putting them all together. So if you were to do blind taste testing between a Patron and a Don Julio, you would be able to pick out significant difference. And I think as people became of drinking age and got older and drinking, so has education as well. More people are educated about what they're drinking now than 20 years ago. I started in this industry 24 years ago. I was a server, as a bartender. I did beer right out of college before I went to Southern. or it was Glazers at the time. Southern didn't come along until later and merged, but it was Glazers, and I started there in 07. Back then, it wasn't really craft bars. It was speed bars, poppin' tops, Crown and Cokes, Jack Cokes.
A lot of people say that's the primary and maybe only way to make a lot of money with any ease.
Dive bar?
Yeah, is to just pack it and turn out as many alcohol drinks and beers as you can.
Yeah, I'll touch on that in just a second. So anyway, I feel like that's where, as that kind of trend started and we got into mixology, more people started getting educated. And as people got of drinking age, got there, started to get older, so they started doing research more. And I felt like that's how Don Julio kind of closed that gap with Patron and became more of a household name, I think, where I don't feel like it was just all marketing. I think that's across the board for
some of it is culturally we wanted to become more educated about the alcohol that we're drinking.
Absolutely.
Right. There's something to be said for that. I think that's what I was thinking too, is that it kind of became, whether or not it was true, like Don Julio became like the quote unquote better choice. So if you're just gonna like keep up with the trends of what people are around, for instance, I remember I got a bottle of Patron one time because this girl I was dating was gonna come hang out and we were gonna drink tequila, and then she was like, why would you buy this? And I was like,
Don Julio?
Patron.
Oh, okay, heard.
And I was like, rappers told me it was good.
Patron in my cup.
Yeah.
Patron in my cup.
This is good tequila, right? And then she was like, she was a bartender at the time, and so she was like, I don't like Patron very much. I think Don Julio is way better.
Absolutely.
And then so the next time I bought Don Julio, and then as we dated, I just would taste both, I guess, from time to time. And then I just stopped buying Patron because I thought Don Julio tasted better. I agreed. But also it could have not as been true. Like if she would have just like told me this is the better one, this is what the bartenders are serving, this is what people like better, I probably would have just said, oh, okay.
A lot of bar staff got behind Don Julio. It was better. And a lot of people that did Patron shots did them chilled. I don't do a lot of things chilled. If I'm doing shots, enjoy them to be neat, room temperature, whether that's bourbon, whether that's rum, whether that's tequila.
Chilling it is like,
it masks the flavor, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's bailing it out.
Yeah, you can hide behind the cold for sure.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
That's what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Now, there's a difference in me like having something cool, like, you can drink like a whiskey like cool, like say in the 60s, kind of like you would drink like a nice cool wine, but actually having it cold and chilled down to like 30, 40 degrees, and that's one thing, but like having something that is cool, there's a difference.
A little different.
Absolutely. And then to answer your question, yeah, dive bars are great. And I actually feel, and I was actually talking to a couple of my buyers about this, I feel like crazy trends are transitioning a little. I think some of it is the economy with money. I don't want to say dive bars are like the thing, but what I've noticed is taking like a dive bar and taking a complete mixology bar and finding a happy medium. So you can go to a bar that has a dive feel, but they can still make some basic good craft cocktails. Are you going to be able to get one that's a nitro fizz done, egg white whipped up type of thing? Absolutely not. But are they going to be able to make a couple of great stapled, like a gimlet or
classic cocktails?
Yeah, classic, maybe a Manhattan, a black Manhattan, an old fashioned, something of that nature.
Something elevated.
Absolutely. Maybe a paper plane, which is a super simple, easy cocktail. You just need to. Bars have been adding a little bit of that no Nino Maro when they can get it.
Green Lantern comes to mind.
Green Lantern.
Right. And people say all the time that that's one of the most successful bar business models that's like around right now.
It's been there for 15 years.
Yeah.
I believe 14, 15, something close to that. Soho was, in my opinion, which was down there by the river above Waxy O'Connor's, was kind of like the first mixology bar. It's done since closed, but a lot of their staff, I believe it is just recently found out, is over at the Rose Tavern downtown. So there's a guy named Luffy and Rob and Cruz that used to be over there, and they're actually now kind of over there. So I'm not trying to promote bars and stuff like that. What I'm trying to do on here, because there's a lot of wonderful, wonderful people that support myself and our brand. But just speaking in sense of when craft kind of got going.
Yeah.
Don Marsh that opened 1919 and runs Rock and Rye was doing a lot of classes at Bohannon's when he worked over there in regards to like brand education, knowledge, Scotch at the time when Scotch was really big before bourbon really kind of came on the scene. He went over there to Green Lantern, to your point, and was working there for a while. And I used to go sit and hang out with him, and we would talk shop about how things are going from dive bar. People are getting more educated about craft cocktails, and that's kind of when Green Lantern was starting to really evolve and kind of come about before he left there to go open his places.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. I think it's like a
renaissance.
Yeah, I think it's like a trend. I think it's a macro trend, but it looks like in this example, it looks like people are getting more, maybe a little bit more hungry for a little bit more information. I think it's just like we're chasing nuance a little bit. It's like we love the nuance in things, and like the more people know about something, it seems like it's both. Like the increase in number of people who know about something increase, and then also the number of people that know about it, they want to know more about it. So it's like it's increase and then it's increase within that. So it's like we're all like, I don't know, 10 years ago, like fantasy football. It's like it wasn't as nuanced as it is now. People are getting like really in depth about the nuances. Or like video games and like alcohol. All this like the guy was talking about records the other day, like the depths and the nuances of the records and like the
marijuana.
You know what I'm saying?
True.
Wine. There's so many.
It used to just be like, I'll take any green.
Yeah, I'll
thing
take
in
any
a bag.
buds, whatever's smokable. And then it's just now it's like this is the craziest. The way I grew this, the way that look at the crystals on this. It's like we love the nuance and
you want an indica,
more information.
Or you want a higher, like depending on what's better for your body.
That's what I'm saying though. That specificity is important because if you can find what you need in a marijuana strain, like sometimes just to be open, like I have smoked a strain before in the past where the high I've said to myself, I'm like, this is perfect. If I could have this like every time, or if it was at least one I could go to every time, that would be so valuable to me.
Absolutely.
But it's just not like that for 99% of people. I guess if you're in a state where you can go and buy different strains and brands, that's awesome. I mean, we'll get there eventually, I think, where everybody has that. But
well, you can get THCA here now, so
it's
like splitting hairs.
Get the CBD and all that.
And that's what I do. I do the
All the
THCA
variants.
from the vape shops, and I honestly don't really. It doesn't bother me.
I have, and I've actually found that the A has a little bit for me personally takes less anxiety for me if I have.
I agree.
Yeah,
It's a little it's less intense,
absolutely.
which is sometimes people say it's a downside. You want that. I mean, if you're at home watching TV, I get it. Maybe you want all of that, but I like to do it before I lift weights, and so having a little less anxiety, but still getting that kind of free space
And focus.
Yeah, I'm happy for the compromise in that area of my life.
So yeah, it's kind of how things are working out, but it's the prime example. You're being more educated about what you're putting in and what you're smoking.
Right.
Same thing with alcohol, what people are putting in, and what people are smoking. So,
Right.
So
Diving into the nuances.
Do you think that's a
Popular
consequence of just having more information available for everybody, like internet, YouTube, or are we just?
Yeah, I would think so, right? I think we're pretty curious naturally. People are, right?
Maybe one of the reasons
We ask
is
questions.
because businesses can sell you. Not that anybody is or isn't, but it's a commodity to be able to know this is quality grain, to know that it's from local things. These are all things that I care about. And people that have money, maybe they'd like to spend money in that direction, you know?
that's important. That's my biggest thing that I try to do when I do either whiskey classes or pairings or dinners. I actually have a dinner this Saturday down in Victoria that I have to go down and I'm going to be hosting.
Nice.
Is one, yes, I try to educate Bourbon 101 and Rye 101. I don't try to just focus on still. I try to educate. But at the same time, when I'm talking about it, I try to talk about the grains, what's going into it. And like you guys saw, when you go to our distillery and you do a tour, we're a very open book. We allow people to take pictures and videos and ask as many questions. We're not hiding behind anything. It's like an open kitchen when you go to a restaurant and you can sit there and see. We want people to know.
That was really cool.
We want people to know what you're getting into and things of that nature. Absolutely. The more you know,
Right.
the better you are, and the more comfortable you are with either drinking it, smoking it, or eating it.
Right.
Yeah.
And people want to eat, cage-free chicken, eggs, people want to, there's something that we care about. It's not, I don't think people want to industrialize everything.
Quality.
Yeah, quality. And
Seek for legitimate quality.
how much goodness are you doing with your process? I think people care about too,
I cook a lot at home. I love cooking, first of all, and second, like I like to control what I put in. Do I eat out? I do. I'm not sitting here and saying like I never eat out. I'm not gonna. For all the listeners out there, I'm not saying I don't. I don't, and I have the luxury of eating at some wonderful places through my job, and chefs and GMs take care of me as well when I go there. But, I am selective and I'll ask questions, but I do eat out. I just try to, smart about what I'm ingesting.
Yeah.
can I sub vegetables in with this? Try not to eat fried stuff, things that are just coated in like massive amounts of like butter. So, just being aware.
Just, putting a little bit of consciousnly towards it.
Absolutely.
That's all it really takes.
One dish could wreck your day if you're not careful. You got to know not to go for it on the lobster mac and cheese, you know?
Might be taking a nap after that.
Yeah, true.
You might have an appointment with the porcelain throne.
Yeah, it could be a long day at home.
Watch out.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's crazy. Have you seen, there's a show on, I want another season of it, but it's one season only right now on Netflix. I forget, it's called like Drink Champs, or not Drink Champs, that's like a podcast. Yeah. There's something, it's I don't know, it's like Drink Masters or something like that. All right, have you seen it?
I have not.
Oh, it's tight. It's just like a competition reality show, but it's like basically around mixology.
Yeah.
And like there's like different mixology challenges and like flavor profiles and like methods they have to do and different challenge or like scenarios they have to overcome or whatever. It's super fucking tight. Highly recommend it.
All right, I'm gonna make
Netflix
note
or what?
watch.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. It's some sort of drink something or some sort of cocktail something. But
Masters of beverage.
Master drink makers extraordinaires. But it's super super good. But I just watching that show. I remember watching that show. I had a very similar feeling to what I had when I watched another show. That was another like I like competition shows because there are different kinds of competition shows. But one of my favorites of all time for sure is Ink Master. It's like a tattoo competition show. I remember the first time I watched that like 10 plus years ago, and like when I watched this cocktail show, I was like, oh man, there's the feeling that I had or the thought that came to me was that people love the nuance. People love like the people who are into tattooing and like tattoos, like that, just like industry has been booming the same way that kind of like the trend of knowing more about food or working out or alcohol, like just knowing more information and being more in the know of the depth and nuances of things is like a popular thing now. It's like there's shows and podcasts about like everything nowadays, like anything, any field, any niche, whatever.
Anything you want. I mean, back in September, I did a sampling for the first pop-up tattoo at Whiskey Cake. They had a pop-up tattoo artist come in. Free tattoos were given. She had like a book of, certain size tattoos, bunch of different options. And you could come in and get a free tattoo. It was like 2 to 5.
Nice.
And obviously people were talking to her. You can get it right there. And I was doing a sampling, but it was just a pop-up tattoo. But education, people were talking. It was a whole thing. It is, But to your point, collaborating around another industry that's definitely on the rise.
Yeah, that's crazy. I think it's just a trend that we're all going towards as humans with the access to more information that we have. I think we're naturally just curious creatures. We like to know what's going on. Or like, it's like why science exists is because we like to know what the fuck's going on here. At least to think that we know what's going on here.
True, right?
So it's like our natural proclivity to like, where's the information? And
map
like,
it.
Where's the right information that's actually true? You know what I'm saying? Where's the truth?
I think anytime a civilization gets more access to information, they go through somewhat of a cultural renaissance. I think that's how you get like the art in France, right? Because they were like industrialized and safe enough to be able to have libraries and schools and stuff. So they end up doing all this crazy art. And same thing with Greece and Rome, right? They had good enough armies to defend themselves.
Yeah, military standing thing. They were chilling.
Right. So they could chill. So they could have like build libraries and then have crazy art. So I feel like we might be hopefully in that direction, right? Where we're just like safe and we haven't had war in a while. So maybe we're just, but the problem is universities are like sometimes getting a lot of criticism right now in our culture. But ideally, we invest a ton into these universities and help have more cultural renaissance would be the idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the access to information is crazy.
Look at how the pyramids were built.
It's crazy.
It's hard to
I
know.
wish I could.
Hard to know.
I wish I could.
I mean, look at the stones, the angles, and all of that. I mean,
right. Culture was thriving. You get all this crazy innovation.
A lot of knowledge at the time and all that, whenever that was.
The fucking Anunnaki.
I heard a story.
Or the aliens, whichever one you want to.
A giant.
Going to kick around.
Maybe there were giants in the past and they just picked it up and set it down and they just went like this, like a sand.
Like, mere mortals. Yeah, they just like chiseled it with their own little chisels.
Yeah.
Stonehenge is another one.
It's wild. I don't know about that.
I have no idea. I literally couldn't even tell you.
It could be
couldn't even tell you a guess.
A landing spot for spacecraft. Could be. Who knows?
What's the deal with it? It's just like these crazy rock formations.
Crazy rock formations. All the Mayan formations that are down in Mexico. It's crazy, man. All those things were built by, I mean, obviously thousands of years ago, but civilizations that were extremely knowledgeable, to your point, craving information.
There's people.
Expanding on their information, learning things every day, and building things that to this day baffle a lot of us and how they were able to do it. Moving things of such massive mass around and putting it in such precise angles.
That's the
and
thing.
measurements.
Yeah.
That's the thing that makes it a real mind fuck. Is that how is it so precise?
So
And it lines up with constellations.
and sun and moon at certain times of year and how it all lines up together. And
It's-
absolutely.
Man, how do they know this?
And
There's no internet back then.
In Mexico, there's the pyramid where on the spring solstice, the sun shines through the rocks in a specific way that lights it up to create like a image and an atmosphere that's like purposefully done and isn't there any other day of the year except for the spring solstice. My sister's birthday is the spring solstice. So that's how my parents one time went to go see it. And they came back and told me, and I was like, that's so trippy. What the hell?
What?
Like,
So Stonehenge is for it has obviously the thing for the summer solstice, but it also has one for the winter solstice and how it angles in.
What do they do?
The summer solstice is it shoots through, and only on that day it has a specific angle where it rises and it shoots through specific rocks at only that specific angle.
I'm not sure what the lighting does exactly because I've never been there.
Yeah, I need it, but it only.
We can look it up.
Yeah, sure.
It only goes through those rocks at that specific time, creating an image that you wouldn't get any other time of year.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
It's like perfectly architected for that.
Yeah.
How are they doing that?
Dude, what the fuck?
How are they doing that? You know?
Yeah.
Who knows, bro? That's the craziest thing. Nobody knows.
People say there's diamond tip drills that might have been like nuclear powered or powered through the gold that's in our atmosphere at the time. And that's what created this like nuclear fission almost that allowed you to move pyramids. People are like, that's one of the theories I've heard recently. Some people say 1 million slaves moved those pyramids. It's like, that's a fair argument, but how did they get them so precise?
How can they move all that? Moving it with sounds.
I don't know. We've all seen 300, man, in Persia, and they have a lot of slaves in that movie, moving a lot of things around. So maybe, I don't know.
And maybe their idea of precision was different than our idea of precision. Maybe like getting a right. Maybe measurement and angles weren't that difficult. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, what the hell?
Let's look up what.
I wish we could go back. I know that's a popular thing that Joe Rogan always says. He's like, if there's a time I could go back to, it'd be the fucking pyramids, man. I want to watch them making that. How'd they make that shit?
I'd want to either go that or the Mayans, definitely.
Yeah.
I feel like the Mayans is cool. It's super hot and stuff down there, but the cenotes are amazing to just go and hang out. I mean, that's what they were doing there. If you look, they're all like right around the cenotes. The cenotes were like, I don't know if you've ever had.
What's that?
You never had the luxury to go to a cenote. So in Mexico, they have these amazing caves of literally just crystal clear water. It's like water, limestone filtered, and they're underground. So you kind of go into a cave, and then they're right there. Some are kind of like you just step down, and light will kind of hit them, and it has a kind of an overhang. Some you kind of have to go down, but the water is 72 degrees all the time. It's crystal clear. You see the fish swimming. You can swim. I've swam in them, dove down. You can swim into the rocks. It's just constant fresh spring water all the time. Absolutely.
That's trippy.
They're all near. I know the ones I went to were just kind of right outside Tulum, but they're all kind of around that area. But a lot of Mayan ruins that are down there. But the cenotes are super popular. People go diving down there. Absolutely. Like you can go up there in a minute if you want.
Is this Stonehenge?
All right, I'm trying to figure out how crazy I want to get with you guys here on this podcast because
Okay.
look at this thing right here. Okay, this looks like an AI generated version of what they're trying to show. But what I'm gathering here is this purpose must be to like stand in this area at the right day, and all of this kind of lines up so that you get this like beautiful image right here.
Correct.
On that specific, because other days the sun would be over here, it'd be over there, it'd be covered, but on right here it shines right through.
And you'll see like June 21st, 22nd is usually the summer solstice. So like June 20th, you'll see the sun there, but it won't be the full ball of the sun. It'll only be like partial because it's shifted. But yeah, on the summer solstice, it's supposed to align right between there. So.
If you're asking me what this is for, dude, it's because people are supposed to sit at these rocks and wait for their leader to return. And how will they know that their alien overlord leader's returning? Well, the path will light up on the specific day, and they'll know that it's time to step into the teleporter and go back to their home reality.
Get beamed up.
I don't know if that's true or not, but it's just so crazy, bro. I guess if it's just art, that's cool too. I mean, we've always made massive monuments of beautiful art.
Yeah, right.
Throughout all time, right?
There you go.
We love that shit.
But it's just there's other things that are very strange about this, like the measurements in between the rocks, the
Absolutely.
precise cuts of the rocks, the weight of them, and the fact that they're there in a region where it's difficult to understand
How they got there.
right. They're not from the surfaces of the rock formations that are around that area.
And they weigh tons.
Honestly,
Right.
is this like the same level of curiosity as far as like who built this, or like like as the pyramids, or do we know who built it, or is it the same mystery?
I think it was Norwegian people, like as Vikings, but I mean, to what degree, I don't know.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, the difference is the pyramids are a wonder of the world and Stonehenge isn't. And then recently, Joe Rogan really blew up the alien thing and the pyramid thing. So I feel like right now pyramids are more on everybody's mind. Like Anunnaki, I don't even know what that is, but I just heard it lately on podcasts and
I've heard
stuff.
that word.
Yeah.
Right. So there's like a lot more theories about pyramids and aliens out there. But Stonehenge is crazy. We don't know
It
this.
is.
We don't get that. I don't know what this is.
It is.
What is that? Because they're cut too. How did they cut them?
So what's the theory behind this source of rocks?
Yeah.
Are they like from nearby areas?
I don't know.
Where?
Yeah, I don't even know any of the Stonehenge. I know some of the pyramid stuff as far as conspiracy, or like a little bit of breakdown. I guess the rocks or precisely cut, precisely laid, potential different moving techniques. The location was like super far away from where the original site was, lined up with the constellations. I know that's kind of like my bookmarks, my bullet points. But Stonehenge, I have like literally no fucking idea. I don't even know where that is.
They're just going right there, Matt said, look, yeah, alien landing pad right off. They're saying,
I'm locked in, baby.
What's it saying?
I typed in what is Stonehenge conspiracy. I was just hoping that it would be like some guy being like some curious things about Stonehenge.
Yeah.
5 quick facts about Stonehenge. Where's the TikTok video? This has got to be some videos on TikTok about this
But
shit.
the ones that says it includes our alien landing pad, which just makes sense when you look at it. But giant fertility symbol, which kind of makes sense. It says it's in the shape of female genitalia. Merlin,
Fucking perverts.
Merlin the wizard. Some believe Merlin the wizard transported the stones and arranged the monument.
From Disney?
Well, he's actually from books.
Oh,
The story of King Arthur.
the real person?
And King Arthur is like, I think in history, and then his uncle was his advisor.
Merlin?
Who was Merlin, the quote unquote wizard.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think Camelot's a book. I think that
I'm here for it.
it's a history. I don't know. I'll look that up. Ancient temple, concert hall, team building event.
They're doing team building. Like, all right, guys, it's important we got to connect. I mean, who's going to do the icebreaker?
It's a big team building event. It's going to incorporate generations of your families.
This is forever.
Oh, that's
We're going to team build with the other beings, with the Anunnaki.
Exactly.
They're saying maybe it's the ruins of a Roman temple. Like everything else got blown away, destroyed, eroded.
These were the foundational pillars of this
Could be.
establishment.
Look up cenotes.
Yeah, let's check it out.
Oh yeah, dude, that'd be. I'm sure it's a popular like vacation spot or
Cenotes?
something,
You have to travel into them.
right?
I mean, you got to stay
you
somewhere.
have to get like guided into them, or I'm sure like the locals know where they are.
Do I spell it with an S?
Absolutely.
Cenote images.
Yeah,
Cenotes.
there you go.
I could have typed in beautiful cenote. This will work. Oh, I think I've seen stuff like this on Instagram.
Yeah, I've seen videos of these
Like I might have seen this.
Say you have to walk down into them. Crystal clear. This is all near the Mayan ruins.
near the Mayan ruins, like underwater caves.
That's crazy.
Underwater, like I guess
Subterranean.
water under the caves.
Yeah.
Caves are under the ground.
Check out this right here.
That's trippy.
Dude, that's nuts.
So a lot of the Mayan ruins are around that. Not all, but a lot.
You think they sat in that place and just felt the beauty?
Absolutely.
Oh, dude,
I'd have been,
yeah.
I'd have been swimming and bathing and refreshing in that.
I bet they're tripping balls in that place,
Yeah,
bro.
if you're-
They're having revelations in that place.
You ate a wild.
They're talking to God in that place.
Go straight to the middle and look up at the sky.
Dude, that's beautiful. Yeah, I'm sure it's like a cool vacation spot or like a honeymoon place. I'm sure, or it's like a expedition people take when they go on those trips to those places.
Absolutely.
You gotta go check that shit out,
When I was
bro.
at-
How'd you get there?
I was at Tulum for 5 days, 4 nights, or something like that, and we rented mopeds and drove. It was like a 20-minute drive or something like that, and we did that and took off and
That's badass.
headed over and spent like a day over there. You can swim and get out and get back in. They actually like kind of rinse off and stuff before you get in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Dude, that's tight.
that water's cold though.
Yeah,
It's like 72 or 74.
Chilling.
Something like that. Yeah, it's
Chilly.
cold. I mean, it's
it's brisk and fresh.
It is.
Yeah, it's refreshing. I can imagine.
It is.
What
So-
were you just went to vacation in Tulum. How'd you like it?
That was a few years ago. Yes and no. I enjoyed certain parts.
Okay.
I went to Belize. And Belize was, I feel, more my speed than probably Tulum. I'm definitely not a nightlife partying type of massive individual, and so there's a lot of that. And when I went to Tulum, there was massive amounts of seaweed in the water too. So might as well look like the Texas coast in
That's a
March.
bummer.
Just piled up every morning, man. They're just constantly taking off. Water clarity is not clear. You know, Tulum was amazing. Belize has the second largest Great Barrier Reef, and so you're able to snorkeling and stuff. So.
Really?
Absolutely.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah. My goal this year coming up is Costa Rica, and definitely want to.
Do you like the tropical vacations?
No, I prefer I'm going snowboarding, man. I love snowboarding. Man.
Really?
Absolutely. I go.
You're all over the place. That's crazy.
I love riding, just wake surfing, riding, anything in boards. That and a few sports, man, baseball, golf, but snowboarding, yes. Love hitting the mountains, dude, going riding.
That's tight.
Absolutely, man.
You like the cold weather?
I like the cold weather when it comes to visiting. I wouldn't want to live there.
Hell nah.
Because people got to scrape their cars, man, and dig out, and it's a whole thing.
The
man.
driveways.
Yeah. It's great to go visit and go snowboarding and stuff, but like when you got to get up and work and that stuff every day, and you got to deal with that every day, and then they have like massive dumps, and you know. Plows come by and they'll clear the road, but no one's clearing your driveway, man.
Hell no.
You better have a blower. You better have your own stuff to handle all that gear.
Oh, God.
And then if you got to go to work at a specific time, you got to get up earlier to go clear your stuff out to get your car and everything out.
Yeah, it's unfortunate necessity, part of your commute.
Absolutely.
I gotta get my commute ready to
You're
be
waiting
commuted.
for the snowplow to come. You're like, oh, I'm running late to work. Snowplow's not here yet.
For a road is one thing, but for your driveway,
Yeah, true.
Level,
True.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Get the windshield clear, get the driveway ready, get the car heated up.
Absolutely.
Dude, fudge that.
It's a whole thing. No, but I love boarding. I got places I enjoy going, and it's great. It's fun. I've been in some weird situations driving, but man, as long as you got all-wheel drive and everything, it's definitely manageable and not bad. But yeah, enjoying cold mountain life is not something I'm totally opposed to.
That's cool, man. Hey, I've never been snowboarding. I guess I've been in the water. I've never been surfing, but I guess I'm trying like water skiing a couple times, but never surfing or boarding.
Yeah, riding sideways is different than riding forward, like compared to like skiing or water skiing. Yeah, riding sideways is a little different.
Mm-hmm.
So they say snowboarding is harder to learn, easier to master. Skiing is easier to learn, harder to master.
Shit, that's crazy. That's tight.
Yeah.
I was gonna say one thing I want to talk about or ask you was I guess how familiar are you, or what's your relationship like, or I guess still Austin's relationship like? I guess as far as like Tito's, or like what do you know? Like how's their come up? Are you trying to like mirror their come up, or I guess how did they do what they did? And what are you doing?
I remember when I first started, Tito's wasn't big at all. Like in the 7, 8, I remember working with sales reps. They were just in a different division. There was only 2 divisions when I was at Glazers, and they're like, man, nobody wants Tito's, and it was tough getting Tito's out there. And he did a good job.
Also made in Austin, right?
Yeah, most not at the time. It was most is. I believe now is.
They've shifted.
Some's made in those states, just because,
I didn't even know that.
There a lot of it's still there, but some is not. But a lot of it's, they're global now.
Yeah,
I think the number 1 spirit in the world.
Really?
Wow, that's
holy
crazy.
shit. That's trippy.
I know they're massive.
Yeah, I know the number 1 spirit here in Texas, and I know it's one I believe number 1 in the U.S. If it's not number 1, it's definitely in the top.
Yeah.
Because and I learned this recently. Like I think it's. Sorry if I mess up the enunciation, but I believe it's Baiju, which is like the number 1 spirit in China. But as in overall sales in the world, I believe Tito's is like right up there. Because you can get Tito's in like England and France and Japan and India. And Tito's
People like that Texas American whiskey, vodka in France. So that Texas juice.
It's everywhere. But when Tito's kind of started to blow up, he was working with some, key bars as well. In key cities as he expanded and getting it in there, and then working well programs and getting it in there as well and getting things done. And then once that did, and getting in with the bartending community, it just kind of really started on a rocket ship. So, but to answer your question, 1, we are not ever going to make a vodka, and 2, we're siloed with Tito's. He's not investing with us. We don't have a partnership with him. We're the official bourbon for UT. He's like the official vodka. We're both made in Austin. Will we like collaborate on things together, like things with UT or things in the market? Absolutely. But as in who we are, we're our own entity.
Yeah.
People do have said to us before, you guys are like the bourbon, the Tito's of bourbon, you know, like
Yeah, Brandon, you guys are you guys. It feels like you guys, as a consumer, you guys have done the same thing, because it's like we found a vodka that was made in Texas that was familiar at a good price point that we wanted to do as like a regular, and then you guys kind of gave the consumer that for gin and bourbon as well, which is cool. That's really cool. But I do see what you're saying, that your identity is different. You're doing things differently, not in the same markets.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of that is also, you know, when you're making vodka, there's no aging. You just make it and you can ship it, where we have to wait for 2 and 3 years before we can do anything, you know? So all of this has to be very well thought out and planned, you know? I used to tell people all the time, back years ago, you know, Scotch that you're drinking at 18 years old is laid down 18 years ago. They're trying to plan for a market like 18 years from now. So you think about like in 2000, these guys were like, what's the market going to be like in 2018 when we release 18-year-old Scotch of whatever that is, Glenmorangie or Dalwhinnie or whatever, you know?
Dude, when you put it like that, your rack houses are like, it's like a trip back in time.
Absolutely.
Because like right now, don't you wish you could go back in time 18 years ago and tell them to make a bunch of it, so that like right now you could have a bunch of it? It's like in Travelers, there's times where they have to like send someone to go create a bunch of like energy source for the mainframe computer. I know it's kind of geeky, but they got to like create nuclear power just so that in the future they can like keep going, because like they run out of resource at some point. So if you could go back in time, it'd be awesome. But you guys are like, have that going on at the rack house. Is that part of why I remember Chris telling us on our tour that your guys' production was insane. You guys were like 5 days a week, as many hours a day as you could. 24
hours a day, 7 days a week on our still right now.
He was telling us you were about to go to 7 because you wanted to continue to go as much as possible.
We have to.
Made it.
I mean, right now when I started, we're just now starting to touch barrels that we'll look at being blended soon from when I started in February that were laid down, you know, because
you've been there 3 years?
Almost 3 years. February will be 3 years. So we're just now looking at barrels. But yeah, we're 24/7. We make about 6,500, maybe 7,000 barrels a year right now currently. But when we get the new still online, which should be the back end of 26 going into 27, we should be pushing close to 40 to 45,000 barrels a year. So that's a significantly massive increase. And that will then lay down the pavement for the future as you head into 2030. So right now, that's where we're having to plan and look at as we grow and move into more states and being able to supply. That's why we can't just go jump to California, you know, one of the most populated states, right? If not the most populated state. You can't just go jump there because we're not going to have enough to fulfill the demand without running out. You got to still make sure you're taking care of home base, home state. You know, people ask why we're not in Florida yet. Florida's a massive state, you know, so you can't just deplete your rack houses to get stuff out. And then you create this, oh man, this is delicious bourbon and rye whiskey and really want it, but now I can't get it. Yeah. And you got to wait so long because of that.
No, it makes a ton of sense. You have to be really particular with how you scale, right?
Very tactical and smart when it comes to going out and doing things. And, you know, you don't want to cut home base short. I mean, we've built in Texas what we've done, and we're still continuing to even grow here.
Yeah, your loyal fans are always the people you want to take care of because they're the people fighting for you in conversation.
Absolutely. They're your foundation.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you want to make sure that you're never cutting them short on any means. So everything that they're doing, you know, Chris and our COO, Scott Nelson, and Nancy and John Chappelle, our head distiller, like the direction that we're going is all very methodical and done with a sense of purpose, not just kind of hodgepodge together. So, yeah, thinking about that as we continue to move and grow. But, you know, if those are people in those states really wanting us, if there's like a total there, then they have that opportunity to at least go there and purchase us. So, yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's badass.
But yeah, it is growth.
I went to business school, didn't finish business school, but I went to business school because I love business. I like the philosophy behind it. Hearing the life cycle of a business and what it was like for you guys scaling up and starting small and the connections you had to make and how it all formed. It's like, to me, incredibly fascinating. Thank you for sharing it with us.
Absolutely.
We're not done anything. I just want to say thank you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I'm happy to be here and share insight with you guys on, you know, not only still at market and bourbon as a whole. I'm also very blessed and lucky, I know, daily to be a part of Still Austin. I'm surrounded by wonderful people. I think everyone that works at Still Austin has a lot of knowledge, not just about bourbon or something as a whole, but the industry as a whole. We have people that are there that have done a multitude of things like myself, and they bring a lot of wonderful insight. So when we get together once a year and we sit down, it's not like a dictatorship with, our higher ups. We're sitting around, we're collaborating, we're talking about what's best for market, what's best in our market, what's best for Still Austin, what's best as we continue to move forward in the future, and getting insight from everybody, from our state managers to our regional territory managers to people that work at the distillery, people that are doing this distillation, the marketing side, everything that comes with that, with the higher ups, and just making sure that we're all moving together and while sharing great thoughts and ideas with each other as a sense of where and how we're going, and not just throwing shit at a wall and seeing if it's going to stick.
Yeah. What's your area regional manager?
South Texas area manager. So basically everything from New Braunfels, Bulverde, Bernie, Kerrville, roughly Del Rio to the Valley, Victoria, Corpus, like count everything.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
How many people have that position that you have?
So there's
obviously not the same region, but the other regions.
Yeah, I'm kind of a weird hybrid. So when I started, I was doing what is called retail, so all of your liquor stores and on-premise, which is your bars, hotels, and your restaurants. And a lot of that kind of was the same throughout. And then as I've been there, we've grown, and they've been able to basically put people in more of a siloed spot. So like in Houston, there's two. There is an individual that just does retail, and there's an individual that just does on-premise. So we're called East Texas managers, and they cover not just Houston, but Galveston and Conroe and, the Woodlands. And then we have two on-premise people in Austin, because that's obviously our home base, and then an individual that kind of does retail there as well. But they cover not just Austin, but everything out to like Lake Travis and Fredericksburg and Marble Falls and up Georgetown and down San Marcos. So, like Bastrop, there's a huge area, right? So more people there. Same thing up in Dallas, Fort Worth. We got two up there and one retail, two on-premise, one retail. And then I had a guy that started with us back in April, Stewart. He's my retail guy here. So he does all of San Antonio and the greater San Antonio area, but anything like south going to Corpus, both worlds still fall on my plate. So that's why I said in kind of hybrid mode, like, because when I go down to Corpus, I got to do retail stuff like the Total Wines, the Specs, the Feldmans as you go south, work with like my local independents and stuff like Liquid Town and Holiday and Spangy's, and still maintain business with, those bars, restaurants, and hotels that are down there as well.
I think that's the future of like what it's going to take to be a well-paid professional is to be a hybrid in your field, to be able to handle day-to-day, year-to-year relationships, operations, management. There's going to be some kind of blend of a bunch of unique responsibilities. If you can take care of like a big chunk of that, that's going to be how you move up in the corporate world. I feel like it doesn't feel like you can learn one trait, master that trait, and then be paid for that trait anymore, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, you should be well versed. I feel like most people at Still Austin are pretty well versed and diversified across the board when it comes to what we do as a job. I like to say when you work for a distillery, you don't really just do one job. You have to do a lot of jobs. I've done everything from being fully dressed up, hosting high-end dinners and that, to basic whiskey classes, to whiskey classes in retail, to building displays, getting hands and knees like to move boxes around, to build these things, cut them, make this massive display, to cocktail creations. You wear all types of hats and you do everything. But to your point, makes you well versed, makes you also diversified with your accounts and the people that are there, and your buyers tend to see you as an asset in the sense, they can talk to you about a variety of different things. So it's crazy because I feel bad. I don't always get to people as much as I want. And some people will ask me stuff like within a 3-week span, and I'm like, I can't, I'm already booked. I mean, I'm mostly booked right now, almost through the end of December. I mean, there's a few spots in there, but yeah, I'm very lucky and blessed in that sense that I've created that where people are able to reach out to me and be like, hey, I want to do this. Hey, I want to do that, rather than me always having to chase them down. Because a lot of times when you're sales, that's what you're trying to do. And I feel like you've kind of
chase leads.
Yeah, now I feel like I got people that are reaching out to me constantly.
That's
nice. People that know them and say, hey, I got your number from so-and-so. I heard you did this wonderful job over there, or they felt it was wonderful. You know,
Yeah,
I always try to take pride in everything I do.
I get that vibe from you, bro, and it's appreciable.
Yeah.
I feel the same. I'm trying to, like, when we're talking about working out earlier, or diet, nutrition, or when you talk about how you take care of guests, or like the tours and things. Like, I appreciate that about you, man. It's I think that's part of maybe why you're so successful, is because I think taking pride in your work's important. You know.
Absolutely. I was saying, I don't know where I heard this was a while. Just be a good human. I don't know. Just be a good human. You don't have to be great at anything. Just be a good person. Just be a good human being. You know, just be good. And just, you know, whatever it is that you're doing, just focus on being good at it and being a good human, whatever that be. Sometimes it is in your industry and sometimes it's not. But I think that pays dividends over the long haul.
Definitely.
What do they say? Win the war, not the battle.
Yeah, true.
Absolutely.
True.
So, yeah. I always find that, you're talking about working out, I always find that people will go to the gym, they'll spend like a day or a week or 2 weeks in there and expect these massive results. And then it's a lifestyle. Like, you have to be committed. You can't just go there and expect that, oh, I'm going to get looking like this in 2 weeks. Or even if you put in the 60 days, you know, you don't stop, because then you're also only going to end up.
Then what's going to happen?
You know? It's a part of your life. And whether you want to get there or not, same thing with eating your diet. Like, do we have splurge days? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I went to Mr. Juicy like 2 weeks ago and bombed out. If you haven't been to Mr. Juicy,
I was like, what's that?
Burger place, man. There's two of them. Oh, my God. It's one of the best burgers I ever had.
In San Antonio here?
Yeah.
Mr. Juicy?
Yes.
I never heard of it.
No?
Okay.
Oh, my God. And I'm not even trying to do a plug, and I wasn't even paid for that. I just went there. But where I was going with is like, yeah, you got splurge days.
Yeah.
You got days.
Balance.
Dude, if you're not living life.
True. Need it.
I mean, I went and got barbacoa on Sunday with the kids. Like,
Nice. I'm with you. I'm not too.
Yeah.
It's just like normal baseline. I want to eat healthy, but it's not. If something pops up, I don't turn it down most of the time. You know, unless I'm like really striving for like some kind of new fitness goal or something like that. Most of the time, I want to be easygoing with people around me.
Absolutely.
You know, girlfriend wants to try a new place. I'm definitely down to go try. I'm not gonna like be fit about it.
Portion control.
Yeah, that's a big thing too, right?
Yes.
Well, I'm terrible at it, to be honest with you. I eat large ass quantities.
Portion control is what we're looking at. Yeah.
I definitely, that's what I'm saying, is normally I just try to make a healthy choice. Like, let's eat these 2 or 3 eggs. Let's eat these, this grilled chicken breast and broccoli. But on a splurge day, I'm going to smash like a whole pizza and then take the whole nap afterwards.
Absolutely.
It's the best, dude.
Yeah.
The balance is key.
Dude, one of my favorite things is
Keep
to
your
eat,
sanity.
get a banana bread from H-E-B, watch a movie, destroy it.
Yeah.
Just gone, dude.
And it's okay to do that every once in a while. It's actually good for your body to I feel like sometimes to kind of have that, I don't know, not so great food. It kind of throws it into like
it's like your immune system, you know what I'm saying? You need some germs every once in a while.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of throws your body into a little bit of a shock. It's kind of like, wait a minute.
Whoa.
Yeah. It's like, oh wait. And then you'll want to push through, but I do eat healthy majority of the time, but yes, I don't mind. And if people are like bringing stuff, and like, I don't want to be rude. I'll try things,
Dude, that's true.
But it's just portion control, man. I can't sit there and eat like 2 massive pieces of cake if somebody's birthday. I'll try something small. Just be involved.
Yeah, there you go.
It's important.
Be a good
If
human.
you're a young professional,
Be a good human.
take a bite of the cake.
Yeah.
Take a bite of the cake.
Be a good human. Man.
Yeah, that's one thing I remember learning. There was a summer I worked with one of my stepdad's friends. He had an AC company. He would just go out to people's air conditioning units and go into their attics and get everything wired up, working with him. And there was one time we went to some guy's house and he offered us a soda. And then I was like, no, I'm good. And then he took it. And then we went back to the truck and he was like, if someone offers you something in their house, or like, especially like a client, like, just take it. He's like, do you think I like Coke? I don't like Coke. I'm like, I'll take it. Like,
yeah, I'll take it. Have a drink, carry it around with you.
Yeah.
Put it in the car,
It's almost like a social
whatever.
courtesy more than an actual like request.
Absolutely.
It's like, oh, okay.
Absolutely, yeah. It is kind of like that, man. So
It's grease too. Even if the person is not going to get offended, it's subconscious. It's like, okay, things are going well. He accepted my offer. Mm-hmm. It's like the Jordan Peterson said in his book 12 Rules for Life. It's like the best thing you can do when you're new at a place is ask someone for a favor. Because if they help you out, then you guys now are kind of like invested in a relationship together. Even if you don't know them, like it might be a little manipulative, but if you need something, like don't be afraid to ask, because you're going to start building a relationship.
Yeah, I think that was Thomas Jefferson or some shit. I think he said that. Or it was like, if you move to a new neighborhood, ask your neighbor to borrow a hammer or something. Yeah. And then just hold on to it for a couple of days and give it back.
Yep. You should do that.
Well, you're creating a sense of trust at that same time.
Yeah.
You borrowed it for a couple of days. They don't know how long you're going to need it or whatever. And then you'll then you give it back. But it's
that first one.
It's a sense of, what do you call it?
It's like, yeah, trust.
Trust in a sense that you borrowed something, you're giving it back.
Yes.
And always leave it better than you found it.
Yeah.
Well, with a hammer, I don't know how much you can actually leave it better than you found it. But you know, if you're staying at somebody's place, you know, make sure you clean up your stuff. Things
Big
of
time.
that nature.
Yeah.
Restaurant, dude. For me, I always picking up trash off the ground. Same thing at the gym.
Yeah.
I try to pick up at least one piece of trash when I'm in the gym, because then I know, well, I left it better than I found it. You know what I'm saying?
I just wish more people did it. That all makes sense back to what I was talking about, being a good human.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, it's not really that hard to pick up, pay attention.
One piece of trash.
Do basic things, you know?
Mm-hmm.
We're all living on a planet, right? And we can't go anywhere.
Not yet.
Can't go anywhere. Yeah. I saw, what was it? Neil deGrasse Tyson was talking about only, a handful of people, or maybe more, I think more than a dozen, have ever been on the moon. And they said one of the things that, you know, best piece of advice ever was like he's ever heard was being on the moon and looking back at Earth, and you see this giant, you know, space, like it's massive, right? Mm-hmm. We have no idea where it ends. And he's like, you're looking back at space, and he's like, I want to tell all these people that run the world, like, it doesn't really matter. We can't go anywhere. It's not like we can. We all got to get along. We all got to just do our part as people, because this is it, man. We're floating rock out here in tiny space in a giant ball.
We got one.
So, yeah, it's it.
We got one.
We got
one shot, y'all.
Yeah, and this is it. And so picking up trash and just leaving things better than you found it, and just being a good person, I think just all like kind of encompasses that. To whatever that is, respect. Yeah. When I go out and eat, I don't leave my stuff there. I just kind of put it all together. This person's, first of all, you don't even know what their day's like. You don't know how their other tables are being. So just trying to make it a little simpler for them.
Sure.
Love that.
Yeah, it's being a good dance partner. And I feel like sometimes in a restaurant, the tables don't necessarily think of themselves as part of the dance, but they are, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Some people are naturally good at just being a table that doesn't cause a lot of concern or problems, and other people, I think, they just don't realize that it would be like, if you could look at the situation as an audience member, you would wish that you were more helpful in this dance than you're being right now. But because you're stuck in your shoes, you're just not looking at it like that. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to blame them for that in that sense, because they just don't have the perspective of it. Like, I didn't know it was like that until I was in it, you know?
Yeah.
I was nice to people, but I didn't quite understand it. Mm-hmm. But I think there's a lot of subconscious layers of human-to-human interaction that happen on a level that we don't really like see or are aware of sometimes. Correct.
And also, you don't know what people's days have been like, you know.
It's really thoughtful of you to think that about people. Mm-hmm. It's good to think that.
You don't.
Right.
I mean, there's times I'm in a shitty mood, or I don't want to deal with people, or, you know, I'm not perfect by any means, but
sign me up. I'm on the same list.
Yeah. You know, and some people probably been forgiving and for me, and so it's kind of like you should be, you know, to some extent. No, there are certain things that upset me. Absolutely, man. I mean, for example, driving over here behind someone that's driving 45 on a highway. Like, come on, man. Like, seriously, dude, like,
what are we doing?
That stuff, like right there. It's like driving on the feeder road, man. You're on a highway. Like stuff like that causes accidents. Like those things frustrate me. It's like, just pay attention.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a little bit like a lack of awareness. You know,
yes.
It's like my lack of like, I'm doing my thing, but you're not. How your thing is connected to everyone else's thing, affecting their own.
And I got there, and the person was like literally looking down their phone. Like, I don't know if they were lost. They were trying to figure something out, and people were just going around them. And I'm like, if you're lost, fine, that's cool, man. Pull over and get out of the way. So one, maybe you don't get rear-ended by someone not paying attention because you're driving so slow. And two, if you don't, people are going around you. Somebody's going to possibly cut over. It's just bad, like flow. And
we're all driving to work here too. It's like, can we just make this road efficient?
Absolutely,
everyone
efficiency.
wants to get to work on time.
Everybody's trying to get somewhere. You don't know how people's day is, but man, don't be driving 20 miles under a speed limit on a highway, man. That's just it's bad, man. I mean, you cause major problems.
That's an obvious example of a time when you can be a good human, but other examples, maybe it's a little bit more elusive. And that's why I like picking up one piece of trash, because it's like I like quantify it as like pick up one piece. That way, like I can measure some way of making some kind of like effort to. For me, it's also respect too. Like I love the gym, and I'm thankful that the gym exists, and so I want to just like respect it. How do you do that? How do you respect something?
Pick up a piece of trash, man. That's 365 pieces of trash you pick up in a year. Multiply that by time part of most of your life. Look what you've done.
Right.
And people should be re-racking weights at the gym. I don't understand how people don't re-rack their weights at gyms. Dude.
Okay, there we go.
I don't get that.
You ever leave a 45 on a machine ever just because you're like, they're probably starting with 45s?
Only on the leg press machine I do that. But that's pretty standard. But outside of that, if I use a bar,
loading up bars.
Anything, I don't understand. I've watched people leave
the clips on it still.
Clips like a 235, and they just get done on 235 on a flat bench or a decline, and they just leave it. I was like,
come on,
this isn't your gym.
Come on,
it's a shared space, man. It's a shared space. Yeah, everybody is here utilizing it, just like you. We all pay a membership. You're not special. You want to leave your weights on? Make your garage a gym. Leave your weights where you want.
Right. I agree with you. It's 100%. Selfish.
Yeah, there's sometimes I guess whenever you take off the plate, there are times whenever I don't rack it all the way. I'll leave it on the floor. You know what I'm saying? And I'm within my own mind, I'm where am I? Is that okay? I'm taking it off the bar, but then I think sometimes because it's easier access. Because if there's a 45 on the bar, sometimes I don't like sliding it off. I can just grab it real quick.
If you're in a squat rack in the corner, maybe yeah. What were you gonna say?
I was going to say, what if a female wants to use it?
I was just going to say that, though, as well.
What if she wants to only put a 25s on each side?
True. Yeah, I don't think 45s on the bar, it's a risky pick. Leg press, maybe you're okay with it. Sometimes if I walked up and there was 45s already on it, and then I sat down and used the 45s for my warm-up, I'll be like, okay, that checks out. But I do agree that, for the most part, it would just be the right thing to do to all the way re-rack it, to make it how it was, when you showed up,
Yeah.
100%.
Trash.
Yeah, same thing.
Good trash, bro.
Good humans.
Absolutely.
Dude, I remember one time I was at my good friend Luke's house. Luke is one of my best friends of all time. In high school, Justin was going to a different high school, so Luke was my friend that I hung out with every day. And I went over to his house, and we're watching college football on a Saturday. And his dad was single, and his dad was a high school football coach as well. He was our defensive coordinator. So where he had 2 recliners in his living room that were badass recliners, and then he's got this table in between them. And I remember I spilled something on the table. And then I didn't pick it up right away, and then got up to do something else. And his dad was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Almost grabbed a red laser pointer and started what is this right here?
What is this right
here? What is this?
What am I looking at?
What the hell is that, son?
Yeah, but he didn't grab the red laser, but he was kind of hot. He was like, "What are you? This isn't who we are. You're a football player in my program. This is how you are at someone's house when you're a guest." And I was just my heart was in my stomach, dude. I was so embarrassed. I still think about it sometimes. But it was a moment where it made me realize, because now I do this other thing where I try to make sure I was standing there. Did I make a mess? Did I throw away my trash? Did I create any kind of, when I walk away, people are gonna be like, "Oh, this guy." And then I remember the thought connection is I have that now, and I didn't have that then, and I wish I could go back in time and give it to myself, but I can't. But at least I have it now.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe it takes a coach to talk to you one time to help.
Oh, I was gonna say you hear that a lot from coaches, Mac Brown, Deion Sanders, Nick Saban, a lot of these coaches that are everyone else. They have these kids come into their colleges, and what is their number one thing? Obviously, they want to be great athletes, football players, just using football as an example. I love baseball. It's one of my favorites. But you want your kid to leave being a good human being in society. Majority of college athletes are not playing pro ball. But what are you going to do during your time there to become a good person, be a good dad, be a good sibling, be a good son or daughter? All those kind of things play, and a lot of those coaches speak to that. What are you going to do when you get out? Because once you get out of college, there's just life. That's it.
That's it.
It's a different game.
There's no rhyme or reason. It's not like you get to sleep in late or whatever. It depends on your job. But majority of us aren't musicians and hip-hop stars and rock stars or whatever you want to classify it as. Actors. Majority, 90+% of the people have to get up and go to what is called a daily grind. My schedule's a little more flexible, and I'm very lucky and blessed to have that. I'm working this Saturday for that dinner and stuff. So,
you grinded for 15 years or more, maybe even to get into that position.
Yeah. So I'll take a half a day off. But for the most people in the world, after you get out of school, whatever school, trade school, college, junior college, whatever it is that you're doing, there's just life, Our people that are electricians, plumbers, firefighters, first responders, they get up, they got to go. they got to work, and they have to work shifts, and then they got to go home. And after that, it's just life. So what kind of person are you going to be
in life? Yeah,
absolutely.
What kind of character? I was going to say there was another question I was going to ask about to bring it back to more still talk. I guess just like alcohol talk in general. It's like I don't not name specific, but like who's like what kind of do you sell more like to restaurants or to dive bars or to hotels? Who do y'all sell to?
Everybody. I'm not.
I guess who's like your biggest supplier or supplied
customer?
Yeah.
Who's my biggest person right now? Like in my number one in
not
my
specific.
territory?
Yeah.
You can tell us that too, but he means demographic. Like who comes to you the most? Where's your bread and butter at? Who's the meat and potatoes?
Like high end restaurants or
no, I mean. Hotels are always going to turn the most volume because they're hotels.
Really?
I don't know. Why is that?
Because they usually have multiple outlets. They'll have restaurants. They'll have bars in there. Then you can get into rooms and amenities with certain sizes. Like La Cantera has a lot of outlets. Hotel, they all have outlets. So they're much more than just going to one bar or one restaurant. So
that's what you're saying.
See me more. I don't know. It's a variety. I mean, a lot of mixology bars have our stuff, but then so do restaurants.
Yeah.
It's just I think it's more of a variety of what. Like if I'm going to go to a dive bar, a lot of dive bars may not carry our cask strength. It's not like crazily expensive. I think they could get it probably like, we'll just say on average upper 40s, low 50s. Like right, they'll get that price, but that's not a price for a dive bar. They're looking maybe for something like 40 and under. Maybe with only one or two, maybe that'd be a high end on a dive bar. But restaurants, on the other hand, would be different.
Yeah.
So, or a run-of-the-mill medium, like an average bar, not quite a dive, but slightly elevated. Those would be more prone to carry like that. And then obviously craft bars would be carrying a lot of our lineup, or if not the full lineup.
Nice.
So my number one account is probably Hotel Emma.
Nice. Wow.
They utilize our bourbon and our gin in the well. They have all the marks. They bought a barrel. Earlier this year. I've had a couple other people pick up barrels as well. Richter's Tavern out in Bernie bought a barrel earlier this year from us.
Nice.
You guys were part of the Cowboys and Cadillacs selection of the barrel process.
Delicious stuff.
Thanks. Christian Willoff, our barrel warehouse manager that runs all of our barrel picks and everything, does a phenomenal job of putting things together. Fair Oaks Country Clubs bought a barrel from us. I got Hyatt Hill Country now picking a barrel. So
nice.
Yeah, it's
doing a great job.
Thanks. I mean, but I don't just do that, like in a sense what I was talking about earlier, I got dinners, I got creations and things like that. But yeah, I wouldn't say there's one specific demographic that is
someone you have to cater
to
or anything like that.
No.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, I mean, obviously looking for volume. I want somebody that's going to be moving volume, but at the same time, it's got to make sense. Not just for us, but for them.
Yeah, of course.
I'm not a pushy salesperson. At the end of the day, I want to make sure that what I'm selling and talking to them about is also going to be
what they want.
Absolutely beneficial for them. If they only want to do our bourbon, rye, and gin and don't want the cask because they don't feel like it's going to work for them, great. Maybe they just don't want it during the summer, and maybe they'll visit it in colder months like right now because it's cask,
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We'll look at that, and we'll circle back and look at those options as they come. I feel like the juice speaks for itself, and it's just about letting people make their educated decision on best for them.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. Yeah, that barrel tasting was an awesome experience. That was super, super fun. I'm sure you do a lot of those, or different maybe not barrel tastings, but it's like tastings in general.
Yeah, we do. Christian does plenty more than I do because that's all he does, and he has people like, for example, November the 6th, next Wednesday. He's got people flying in from Chicago to pick a barrel. He had some people from Washington State pick a barrel. Ducks Unlimited has picked barrels from us. Total Wines picked tons of barrel picks from us. Specs has done barrel picks, and they always meet with Christian, and he works all that stuff out. That's what he does. He's in the rack house working closely with our head distiller and our distiller assistants and what's going on and where those things are and knowing all the ins and outs, and puts all that process together. My job is to help just bring the two together. And then me obviously be a part of that process. I've learned a lot during that process.
Yeah, that's awesome. Have any tastings go haywire? People be losing themselves, or is everyone pretty composed, pretty business professional?
Man, I've had a few incidences here, and I don't want to dive in and throw people there.
No names.
No
names at all.
No names. Just I've had someone that didn't. handle barrel proof stuff very well. And
Yeah, it's stronger, right? It's stronger. Yeah.
Well, it's not filtered,
yeah, it's straight.
There's
ethanol,
a lot of times when you dump a barrel, there's a screen there to pull things out, and we're just using a siphon to pull the juice directly out. So you might get some like bits in there, but it's just something that's directly right out of the barrel that you guys are tasting.
Mm-hmm.
And barrel proof stuff at that level, if you're not really used to it, and you're sitting there drinking it over and over and over at 121.5 or 117.8 or whatever that is, it hits you quick, man. It gets you there where you need to be pretty fast. And, I've had people in that. I've had people like really be pretty heavy, on the ride back. We've had to stop 2 or 3 times to go to the bathroom. Just gotta go pee, man. Just gotta go pee. So
the seal is broken.
The seal's broken.
It's
man.
done.
The seal's broken. So there's been a lot of variations. Almost every trip is there's always something that happens, man, when we do that kind of stuff.
That's alcohol. Alcohol's fun. It's party.
It creates
some I don't know, some noise with it every time. So
Enjoy responsibly.
Yeah, this is part of it.
Absolutely, yeah. Trying to keep that balance.
Yeah.
Always. You got to try to make sure there's plenty of waters on the bus, because after you get done with that,
A little bit of some tacos.
Mm-hmm.
Some water and tacos.
Man, I've actually been mixing in some kolaches as well. People
Dude,
kolaches.
preach the kolache gospel. They're amazing, right?
Book of kolache.
Dude, I love kolache. Dude, their place
Kolaches.
over off of 281 in Thousand Oaks Donut Palace, I think, is the best kolaches I've ever had.
Really? Okay, I'll try it out.
Dude, I've tried so many around their bread. There's just
That's it.
Yeah.
There's a spot in San Marcos called Dos Gatos, and they were my favorite breakfast place while I lived there. They just specialize in kolaches, and they do breakfast with like meat and sausage and whatever. They have like a Philly cheesesteak that's amazing, but then they also do like blueberry, strawberry, sweeter ones.
Yeah.
And then I went to HEB the other day, and in the mornings they have kolaches in like the heaters, and I got one, and it was so good. I remember thinking to myself, I don't know a single kolache place here in San Antonio.
Donut Palace, man. They
Dude, I'll
got
give it a run.
brisket, kolache, boudins. They got sausage, jalapeno cheese, sausage and cheese. You can get regular, you can get the jumbos, man. They got varieties, and their dough is like so soft. It just like almost molds around.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I'm into it, dude.
Yeah.
We went to Luke's bachelor party before his wedding, and his mom sent us like for breakfast in the morning on one of the days, like I think a delivery showed up of just all the kolaches you could imagine, so many. And then we went and played golf, and we came back from golf, there was like 50 kolaches still available, all flavors.
Oh yeah.
I remember I grabbed 3 of those, and I was just beat up from the sun and from the golf and the drinking. And I got into the bathroom with these kolaches.
Brought to the bathroom?
I was drunk, dude.
I'm taking these with me.
I don't know about food in the bathroom.
I agree with you guys. But
They're saying it out loud. It's kind of weird.
It's an iconic moment. I take a bite of this kolache, and I was just like, oh my gosh. It was just like, it was powerful. That was a powerful bite in that moment.
That's hilarious.
And I realized kolaches are a powerful food.
They're
You don't
they are
drink
delicious.
responsibly and don't eat in a bathroom. But
No, they are delicious, and so I've kind of tried to transition out of the tacos on trips, switching it up to kolaches. I give people an option: kolaches or tacos. And I've had a lot of people like, nah, dude, bring us kolaches.
Kolaches.
They're where it's at. So I've been doing
Super
that.
good.
Yeah. I try to do, there's like on average about a distillery tour a month with my client, with clients. I had like 3 in a little over a month. I executed 3, and all of them pick kolaches. So
Nice.
Yeah.
It's trending upwards. Buy kolaches. Buy kolaches.
Absolutely, man.
when we were in college, Dos Gatos was like one of the only restaurants that opened up and then blew up too. Like they stayed alive.
Yeah.
They opened a second location while we were going to school there.
There you go.
Yeah, they're popping off. So
Yeah.
I don't know how long it'll live for, but Austin's a trendy place, I feel like that might be part of the reason why you guys are having success there is because you guys, like, not that you guys are just a trend in any capacity, but they're willing to pick up new stuff.
They are.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting, diverse city. But you also, to that point, there's a lot of people that like make Austin their focus and try to do a lot of things there with brands, whether they're from Austin or not. They're just trying to do it as in a sense of being a part and immersed into that service industry culture. Chicago's kind of like that as well.
Yeah, you're right.
Chicago.
I've heard that. I've never been there, but I've heard a ton of things.
I've never been. It's on my bucket list.
Yeah.
I've had many friends to Chicago. Absolutely nothing but phenomenal responses. So definitely want to like check that Chicago box off. But,
Same, dude.
and we're up there in Illinois. So my guy Eric that runs the state, he's like, anytime you want to come up, man, let me know.
Dude,
I'm just not going there in January.
Hell no, bro. I'll see you in March. Or I'll see you in May, June. Probably August.
September, October is really good. He says.
Yeah, with transitions
right now. Yeah. No deep winter stuff there now. So, but no, still Austin's growing great, man. It's we've been on a massive uptick. I do tours. I'm always here to help people out in any form. I try not to make it all about just still, like I said earlier. I try to teach bourbon 101, like
bourbon and rye.
What makes bourbon bourbon? There's federal laws. All bourbon is whiskey. Not all whiskey is bourbon. And just educate people on that, and hopefully they find it as passionate and interesting as I do. And I try to lead with like that kind of mentality. So yeah, I try to, when I do my dinners or my classes and things, I take it to a lot of pride and sense of what I'm doing, because people taking time out of their day to come sit in and listen to me talk. Mm-hmm. People are paying money a lot of times for these dinners to come in. They want an experience. They want to learn. So all that kind of comes into play. But yes, we're growing, and we're building things the right way, and hopefully imposing a good positive outlook on what is Texas bourbon and rye whiskey as a whole. That's what we're trying to do.
Absolutely. I think you did a great job, bro. Absolutely love it. I know we're nearing the end of our time here. Was there, I guess, where could we find Still, or plug your personal brand, or whatever you got? Where can we find you?
So you can find Still Austin in pretty much any liquor store. Most liquor stores have it. I don't want to I'll just say in general, like Alamo City to Specs to Total Wine to LOL to Liquor Bueno, this skips if you're in the Braunfels area. I'm just speaking kind of in my territory, Corpus, like Liquid Town, Spanky's, all that down there. You pretty much find us anywhere. A lot of them will have barrel picks. We do not just bourbon barrel picks. And for people that don't know what a barrel pick is, it's, where that store or that establishment has gone in and selected their own barrel. I know we're sitting here enjoying this wonderful cask drink. That's a blend of barrels, so that if you're in Houston or Louisiana or Chicago, it always tastes the same. It's just at barrel proof. A barrel pick is something where they selected their own specific barrel, which will impart the flavors that they want, like you guys got to be a part of. Mm-hmm. Like it's their own barrel, and nothing's going to taste like that. So a lot of those have their own barrel picks where you can also get in there and get it. But we're all over. You can find us pretty much anywhere and everywhere. None of our stuff's crazy expensive. You're not going to find anything like $90, $80, $90 or anything like that. We had a red corn bottle and bond 5-year come out earlier in June. We're about to release our blue corn 5-year bottle and bond coming out in the next 9 days.
Nice.
Yeah. It'll have a 5-year age statement on it. It'll be a blue corn bottle and bond. For people that don't know what a bottle and bond is, it follows all the rules of bourbon, except it has to be a minimum of 4 years. It's got to be 100 proof. Has to be made at just one distillery, government bonded warehouse, and all the grains have to be harvested, milled, distilled, and put into into barrel for aging in one distilling season. And then when you go to do your blend to make your bourbon, you can't pull barrels from different years. You can only blend those barrels that you harvested, milled, and distilled those grains and put in a barrel from that season. Mm-hmm. And a distilling season is 6 months, not a 3-month season. It's considered one 6-month season.
It gives you opportunity to make a larger quantity.
It also really like hones in though what you can actually use to blend with, because I can't pull, or I should say we can't pull stuff from I can't pull barrels from 2019 to add this little bit.
Yeah, it's like vintage.
You can only pull from that specific year from that specific region. So we'll have that blue corn drop in, and then me personal. And I like to share this with people. Anytime you see Still Austin and it has the wonderful lady on the front, we're the first to ever drop a female on the bottle for bourbon ever. But if you ever see any of our stuff that has the lady on the front, that's an everyday item for us. Like you can find that at your liquor store. It's not limited time. If you don't, like the blue corn, it'll have a bird on there holding a grain. That's a limited time offering. So that's kind of how I like to tell people to be able to distinguish between what you see in the market on Still Austin, lady.
Wow.
Be able to pick it up. So
anytime you see a bird or anything that's not a lady, that's maybe take a look
limited.
at that.
Yeah, limited. So like our red corn has a cactus with a red snake.
Yeah, snake on it, right? Yeah.
My personal favorite though in our lineup, just me personally, I like our cask rye. not a lot of cask ryes out there, but our cask rye at 116 just drinks absolutely amazing. It's part of the play with our Bracetto strain of rye. It's not like a rye spice bomb, but everybody's palate's different. So what I like isn't always necessarily what
Translate.
like.
True. Justin had sang the praises too, though. He really liked that.
Whenever we tried it or you brought it over, it was super, super good.
Yeah.
Probably my favorite.
Cask strength rye.
Rye.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing stuff. So,
Dude.
Personally, one of my favorites. And our ryes are 100% rye. There's a lot of ryes out there that are like 95 and 5% corn or whatever. Ours are 100% rye.
Nice.
So,
That's
absolutely.
Awesome,
Still Austin on the socials and everything too. Just at Still Austin.
Still Austin Whiskey for Facebook, and then Still ATX for Instagram. Okay. We do a variation of things. We just dropped our Monster Mash last Monday. It went live.
Monster Mash. What is that?
So every so often we do what's called a DRS, which stands for Distillery Reserve Series. And we work with local artists to create the artwork that goes on for that bottle. So we've done, like, say, for example, a rye finished off in a cognac cask, or we've done a rye that was finished in a Madeira. We've done like a 4-grain, or we've done a double oaked. It's always something that's just kind of playing around with. And they yield a variety of bottles. Like, some will yield like 300 something cases, some will yield, or 300 something bottles, some will yield like 700 something bottles, whatever it is. It's Distillery Reserve Series is only available at the distillery, but you can buy it online and it'll go live on a specific day, and you can click on the link and you can buy it. And then once you purchase it, you get a confirmation number. We'll keep it at our distillery until you pick it up. The artwork that is done by a local artist, so we'll work with somebody that's a local artist to do it. So much money goes back to them, keeping with the community, raises awareness for that local artist as well. And so we do a couple of those throughout the year. It's just Monster Mash is always the one that comes out right at Halloween time. Mm-hmm. It's always our same artist, and he creates a different rendition every year of the Monster Mash. And we did the Monster Mash again this year. And I haven't got my bottle yet. I got it. It's a story I have the past couple of years. Absolutely amazing. It's one of the most sought after of our DRS series. Sold out in less than 2 minutes online.
Damn.
Wow. Let's go. It's on Yeezy status.
Yeah. So if you're following us on any of those platforms, we'll post stuff like that when we're about to drop a variety of different things. We've done a ruby port finish. We've done a variety of different things. But it's a way that we like to have fun, not put stuff out where it's all over the market, help raise awareness for local artists that are trying to get this stuff out there. They get to create a label. We even did a earlier one this year with the ruby port cast finish. With a lady that is a book writer. And so she had a book, and every label was like kind of a piece of a page of a book. And on the back had a QR code, and you could scan it and then see her entire book. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Absolutely. So there's just a whole different variety of like creativity that's behind that. People get to try a variety of different things from Still. Keeps things fun, fresh, right? Interesting. Yeah. And at the same time, supporting our community.
You guys are badass. I love everything that you guys are about.
Yeah, that's badass,
there.
man.
Thanks. Most people don't, always know a lot about that. I mean, if they follow us, they'll see those kind of things.
Yeah.
But they may not know all of like the kind of the nuts and bolts behind what it all represents.
What that local means, truly.
Yeah, and the art
awesome.
and the artist and the artwork and stuff.
Everything.
The Madeira one was done by a tattoo artist, and so every time we launch these, so it went live last Monday at 1:00, and then we let people come in that following Friday for pickup. And what we did was for the Madeira finish one that we did earlier this year with the tattoo artist, we actually had the tattoo artist that came to our distillery, and we did free pop-up tattoos for
at the pickup.
That's
so really
you come
cool.
pick up your bottle and you get a free tattoo.
What? I'm gonna follow you guys right now. I think I already am, but I'm gonna double check. Dude, that's cool.
So this is a variety of different things. We've done some stuff where we've done oyster shucking deals with like things that may pair up with it, or just stuff with gin. It's just always something kind of unique. We do bourbon and blues every other Wednesday night at the distillery, and for a variety of just different things. Drag queen show last Sunday. So yeah, nice. Just keeping things fresh, keeping things moving, keeping things
community.
Exactly. Supporting. Taking care of our foundation.
Yeah.
Keeping it Still Austin.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, we got our bourbon, cask bourbon, our rye, our cask rye, and our gin. That's our core lineup that you can find out.
That's the starting five.
That's the starting five. Go Spurs, go Spurs, go.
Come on.
Have you seen the new Wimby commercial, man, with the aliens? Speaking of that,
I don't think so.
What happens?
It's an HEB commercial. What I was thinking about it earlier when we were talking about Alien landing spots, yeah.
What
The coyote like comes in and he looks around the corner and he sees these two aliens standing there, and Wimby comes up with like 2 bags of groceries, and he's like
That's
talking
awesome.
to the aliens, and then Wimby just kind of disappears back, and Coyote's like,
That's awesome. I haven't seen that, but I want to.
yeah,
Yeah, I love Texas. I love San Antonio. You know what I'm saying? I love being here. Love this
Yeah.
place.
I love San Antonio.
Yeah, I love this place,
I
man.
feel like it's got a lot of blend over now coming in from Austin. Talking about how Austin's kind of like the place. I feel there's a lot of people that are moving stuff down here in San Antonio. It's crazy. It's becoming like a combined almost metropolis type thing. So
It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
If we get a monorail connecting us, we'd be
That'd be tight.
Oh, man, bro. 30-minute train ride to get to Austin.
30 minutes.
if we could get 35 finished, that would help too.
Yeah.
It's a racket, bro.
Ever since I've been here, they've been working on that
I was about
fucking
to say,
road.
they'll never stop.
I don't know if that thing will ever be finished.
Nah, dude.
It's a heartbreaker. Yeah, you heard the new one. They're supposed to start construction again on 35, and like Austin's gonna be destroyed. It's like right through downtown Austin. They're gonna start working on 35.
Oh, you have to
I
start
saw
one.
I saw it on Instagram a couple weeks ago. People are like, "Bruh," but I guess they said that there's always just been traffic everywhere. So it's
They
just
got to do something there. I mean, it's horrible in downtown Austin.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just, you just as soon as you hit into like Old Torf going to Riverside, just bottlenecks up right
every
there.
time.
Every time. Old turf.
Unavoidable.
Every time.
Absolutely. So, but yes, as a whole, man, that's where still Austin's going. People can reach out to me. I'm just still _ Sean spelled SCAN _ Crawford. I try to keep my life, my Instagram towards that.
Still Sean Crawford.
Yeah, still Sean Crawford, but just the underscore underline between it, separating it out. Sean spelled SCAN. I tell people about that because I like to share things when I'm doing dinners or whiskey classes and stuff. That different ones of my accounts. I've done some stuff out in Green, New Braunfels. I did a Texas songwriter thing last Monday out there. So I like to share a lot of my accounts when they're putting all these things together. So if people ever want to come and either immerse themselves in some bourbon and rye knowledge, or maybe try some Still Austin that they've never had before, or just check out like a cool activity, maybe they're looking for something to do. That's what my page is kind of mostly for.
Nice.
Facebook's a little more like
Definitely.
family-driven.
Yeah.
Instagram is more like work-driven.
Yeah,
I feel that.
Yeah.
that's natural.
100%.
Yeah. So,
That's cool. You help curate the experience for these people, give them extra opportunities to get an exclusive look or limited time editions of things. It'd be a good follow if they're interested in Still Austin and want to.
absolutely. I have people that follow me follow the Still Austin, but they'll follow me and then they'll ask me questions off on the side about certain things. And then also, if, for example, sometimes people can't get up to Austin, like, hey, if I purchase a bottle, I'll pick it up for them and just bring it back down and then
Nice.
get the bottle. Yeah.
Let's
since I'm
go.
back and forth to the distillery pretty
That's
regularly.
tight.
So I'll just grab stuff for them.
Dude, you're the man, Sean.
Thanks, man.
Absolute
Hell
pleasure
yeah.
to have you on. Seriously.
Thank you guys for
Yeah,
having me
appreciate
on.
you.
Yeah, dude.
Thank you guys for having me on. Thank you guys for being a part of like that barrel pick and being able to see like everything. A lot of people don't get out to our rack houses, so you guys getting out there for that was pretty good experience.
I loved it. Yeah, that was great.
It's more private.
Got some good content too. It was cool.
Yeah, I'm excited for you guys to roll that out. But yes, that's great. But I appreciate everything you guys are doing, and thanks for having me on and doing this. Looking forward to more.
Of course, bro. Absolutely, man.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to more. So we
Yeah,
can talk
dog.
about some more of the things. Maybe some more working out stuff.
Yeah, dude, I'm down. We could do a
Talk
podcast
for years,
that's,
man. I'm telling you.
Well, we could do some more fun stuff. Maybe just some more like bro podcasts. So we could talk less business and more lifestyle and stuff like that.
Absolutely, do lifestyle. We could also talk about just in the spirit industry as a whole.
Yeah, that'd be really cool, dude.
Whatever,
Yeah,
man.
bars,
Hell yeah.
restaurants, man, different things that are trending. Absolutely, all
Yeah.
those things are on this book.
I'm saying, man, you got to get a Still Austin podcast started up, bro. We got you. We got you. We'll help you out.
Still
get
Awesome
it going.
podcast this week will be.
Yeah, come on now.
awesome.
Yeah. I've always wanted to do a little riff, man. A friend of mine wanted me to start. I really into cereal, and I do cereal. I was like, man, I want to start my own like podcast. Do like the Serial Killer is my name, but killer with an A.
Yeah.
Cereal and
Killer
cereal,
Trav.
and then cereal spelled like the cereal you eat.
Yeah.
So I like to mix my cereals, man, and I do
Whoa.
different things. As I have cereal recipes, and I was
Whoa.
so I like to mix cereals and create recipes, like mixing different varieties and give you different flavors.
I need 50% cinnamon toast crunch. I need 30% Lucky Charms.
Absolutely.
5% Apple Jacks.
It'll give you this, man, or put in like some frosted mini wheats with like, it'll give you like a certain flavor profile. Absolutely, man. All
Dude, why
that's
should I
fun.
combine with my frosted mini wheats? I like frosted mini wheats.
Frosted mini wheats? I mean, you're already gonna get like some frosted. You're gonna get some crunch. You should probably put in like a honey and some almond type Cheerios, man. And you want to put your
I buy both of those.
and you want to put your mini wheats on the bottom because your Cheerios float. So Cheerios are like float in milk where mini wheats don't. And so if you flip it, then everything kind of rises above the milk. So your mini wheats are just sitting on top, not really touching the milk. Where if you flip it, then they're getting the milk.
Okay, got it.
And then you can try varieties of different milks. You could do almond milk, like you could do like regular.
We're getting into the depths, the nuances of the cereal game.
This is going to lead into the next one.
That's a sneak preview. That's a sneak preview. I love that.
Yeah,
I think I have
one.
a box of pumpkin spice frosted mini wheats, and I have a box of honey almond Cheerios with the flaxseed and stuff in it. So that'll hit. That'll be nice.
Actually, mix that together. Yeah,
Perfect.
All right, I'm into it. Well
It's meant to be.
Can't believe I never thought to just instead of going 1 and 1, just combine them.
I've mixed them, man. I've mixed 2 and 3 different ones before. Oh yeah, it's great, man. I've got into like love cereal.
I love cereal, bro.
It's like my snack. My buddy was like, "You should do this, man." And he was like the cereal killer, and there's not really anything like it. And it's funny, we just rolled out a new menu at Still Austin at the distillery, and one of the drinks is called the Cereal Killer, and it's a boozy cocktail, and they give you a spoon with Cinnamon Toast Crunch in the spoon, and it tastes like Cinnamon Toast Crunch, but it's a boozy. I thought it was going to be sweet. It's actually not, and but it tastes like Cinnamon Toast Crunch, just not sweet, and it is a boozy cocktail. And I was like, man, this is delicious. But I was like, you would steal my name.
Right? Maybe that just means a sign.
That's
Maybe
me. That's a sign. That's a sign from the other side.
So getting on here, I was pretty stoked, and I was like, man, heck yeah, dude, Serial Killer. Yeah, we can do this.
Come on now. We got you, man. We'll be in contact.
Oh, yeah, we'll put something like that together. But anyway, man, cheers. Thanks for you guys for having me.
Cheers,
I
brother.
appreciate y'all's
Okay,
time, man.
Pleasure, bro.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, man. Thank you for joining. Have a great rest of your life. We'll see you on the other side. Living, laughing, learning, growing. Smash the follow button, smash the like button, comment, all the fun stuff. We'll see you on the next flip. Peace.
Rolling through the city to the light show. Really ain't no telling where we might